the issue of structural integrity in the Lagos real estate market. Head of studies of and structural integrity or manage material. Some people go about trying to manage costs, and at the end of the day, they use low quality materials. You see some buildings. Building. How are they sure that this building, is quality enough? And also, in fact, let's even start from these questions. What are the major causes of building collapse? Are the major causes of building collapse, especially here in Lagos or in Nigeria as a whole?
Okay, so thank you very much, sir, for that question. You see, structures are not rocket science. You understand, number one. And one thing we need to understand about structure is that is what you give to a structure, is what you put into a structure that will determine the behavior of that structure. Are you getting me, sir? So if you put into a structure, poor quality job, low construction material, you understand, it's going to react back based on what you've put into the structure itself. And major thing that causes building collapse, majorly in Nigeria, Lagos State, or anywhere in the world generally, number one of it all is poor construction. Poor construction. Buildings, I want you to know this, buildings does not just collapse anyhow. Any building you see collapse is based on the fact that, number one, the structure was poorly constructed. Probably they've tried to cut corners one way or the other in some places. Are you getting me? In order to achieve a specific desired results. Are you getting me? So poor construction contributes majorly, and poor construction starts from the foundation. You see, foundation is very important when it comes to a building. People neglect this a lot. That it's just for us to just put something into the ground and then let us start, developing the land. No, you don't just go to a land and then think, okay, my friend, for instance, in Lagos State, or let me say a friend of yours in Abuja, erect a 5-story building using a part foundation. Now you now come to Lagos State because you've experienced your friend doing that. You understand? Erect a 5-story building in Abuja with part foundation. You now come to Lagos State and you are not like, okay, you don't need anybody to tell you anything. You've seen it done in Abuja. The same thing can be replicated here in Lagos State. It doesn't work like that. For every site, for every land, they have their own specific soil profile. Are you getting me, sir? And this soil profile have these soil profiles have their bearing capacities. So when you get to a site first and then you want to start construction, for you to even talk about construction, the first thing that you need to do is that let me test this land to see if it's capable enough to carry the intended design that you have. If you want to build a 2-story building on a land, you need to test that soil, that land, to know if it's going to carry that building or not. That is where the expertise of the geotechnical engineer now comes in place. The geotechnical engineer then come and test that land, and then after testing the land, is going to give to you what they call the soil test report. Now, in the soil test report, is going to the geotechnical engineer is going to give you, in a tabular form, different bearing capacities of the soil profile on that land. If you dig 1 meter down, you will see a specific type of soil. You dig far down to, like, let's say 2 meters, you see different, another type of soil, another type of soil profile. So those, as you're digging down and you are meeting different type of soil, those soil themselves have their bearing capacities, and they have, you know, what they can withstand. What is bearing capacity? Bearing capacity is the capacity to which a soil can withstand load. Are you getting me, sir? It's the capacity to which, the extent to which a specific soil can withstand load. Now, when you already note that, okay, this soil can carry up to, let's say, 50 kilonewtons, or let me just put it in layman language. Let's say this specific soil at 1 meter depth can carry 5-story building. Now, at that 1 meter depth, because you see that, okay, it can carry 5-story building, at the end, maybe probably when you building it and you're like, okay, this thing is strong enough, you want to load it one more, then the building will definitely come down, because you've disobeyed, you know, the reports of the geotechnical engineer. So it is very important for us to know that soil test is very important when it comes to construction. If you cut corners on soil test, I don't want to test the soil. My friend beside me, you know, there is a situation in K2. I experienced that 3 years ago. Now, we have 2 sites. We have a virgin land in between, you know, 2 developed sites. Now, those 2 developed sites, they did raft foundation there. Now, anybody can think that, okay, this new virgin site should be able to carry that same raft. Should be able to raft foundation should be able to work on that land. But when we engage the, you know, the service of the geotechnical engineer, we end up we found out that raft foundation will be, you know, the worst, you know, foundation for that land. We end up going to as far as 9 meters to find a good soil profile to carry just 2-story building. Just 2-story building. I mean, let's just imagine we didn't do soil test. We just go ahead and do our foundation. What do you expect? The building will definitely come down. So soil test, number 1, is very important. After the soil test, the next thing is you should engage, you know, the service of a professional engineer. These things. All these steps and these things I'm mentioning now are what contributes to what building collapse. Because if you don't engage these people, you don't engage them to do the right kind of design for you, you understand, definitely the building will come down. Poor construction, lack of clients, majorly clients engaging professionals in every of their projects, results to building collapses. Lack of maintenance. Lack of maintenance. Now, lack of maintenance is in different board. For instance, let's say we design a 2-story building for commercial use, majorly, and then you know, they've been using it for, like, let's say 4 to 5 years for the intended purpose, commercial use. You understand, it has been, you know, servicing it as it's supposed to be. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tolu. Yeah, geotechnical engineers are underrated, seriously. So now coming to that, and after some years, you now find out that, okay, I want to change this commercial setting to an industrial setting. Are you getting me, sir? Now you've now shifted the reason, the purpose for which that project is being designed from commercial to industrial, and definitely expect collapse, because when you overload a building beyond its capacity, it's definitely going to come down. It's definitely. Are you getting me, sir? So I'm with you. So there are a lot. There are numerous, but the major one part of it is, number 1, poor construction. Are you getting me? And number 2, design flaws. You understand? You don't engage right professionals to design for you. You don't engage anybody to design. I mean, I've been in a situation whereby an iron bender is giving advice to a client that, you know what, let us keep putting reinforcement. You know, if you put more reinforcement, the house will be strong. When I heard that, I was just shaking my head. That can you imagine this poor client? Number one, you.
I think.
I'm with you.
In fact, I think this is a major, problem, and one of the things I think is the reason for this is because housing in Nigeria is already very expensive, and the cost of engaging all of these professionals is is also expensive. So I don't know, what would you advise that investors or maybe people that are looking forward to minimize cost and at the same time they want to build a quality home, or maybe they want to even with developers, how do we minimize cost? Because by the time we engage all of these things, the cost naturally will go up. So you already know that the cost of building in Nigeria is very, very expensive compared to what you get in the Western world. So that is why most people that want to build house, they don't even know who a geotechnical engineer is. They don't want to engage a soil engineer. They don't want to do soil tests unless it's a very big project. So how do we navigate this? Because most of the people building there, they don't even engage an engineer. They just call it bricklayer or something, and they are building, and they are endangering lives. So how do we navigate this to make sure that as we are trying to minimize cost, we are also able to adhere to all these codes that we need to, so without compromising the integrity of the structure?
Okay, you see, that question is actually very important. In fact, a lot of people ask these questions a lot. That okay, why engage a professional when I know that I'm spending way too much on a professional? Number one thing you need to understand that a professional is not meant to make you spend more, but to save more and to be safe on your project. When you engage your professional, number one, your property is safe, and then the the development you are putting up will be economical, because every engineer, every professional design for number one, safety, and number two, every professional design for economy's sake. Because I mean, why will your design be expensive to the extent that the client cannot even afford it? Are you getting me, sir? So it's very important for everyone to know that every professional are not. You might have that's why I told someone on one of our platform that you are coming to this life to number one, to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. Now you need to unlearn the fact that someone has told you that when you engage a professional, they will siphon all your money. They will collect all your money from you, and at the same time, what you would engage a normal bricklayer for. Are you getting me? You are just wasting the money on a professional, and it's not like that. Let me cite an example. Now, 2015. I developed a project for a client around at Millennium Estate, Bagada. Now, when we got to the site, the site then the project wasn't directly mine then. You get it's from one of my boss, one of my engineer that I sat under. Now he called me and engaged me to the project too as well. So when we got there, now we note something that the client had already engaged some contractors to develop the land, and they spent money on that project, and they did a pipe foundation, right? They've done the ground floor, they've loaded it with the first floor before they now find out that the house has tilted. And they thought it's something they can just overlook. You understand? They did an underpinning for the building. The thing sank the more. Now, and the client was now saying that he told us that he has spent over 75 million naira. Over 75 million naira on that structure. And it's not a finished state. And it's not a finished state, and the house is already deforming. Now, tell me, will you pay a professional 75 million naira to design and follow up on your structure? and then have something safe and economical. Are you getting me, sir? So I didn't mean he had engaged the professional for now. They already see that, okay, this thing is not working. We now need this and tell us what to do. Now when they engage my boss, the first thing they do is soil test. Now after doing the soil test now told us that we need to go far down to like 30 meters for us to find a stable structure that will carry any structure, even if it's ordinary bungalow, that will carry any structure on that site. And we found out that initially the former contractors they engaged, they just dig how many meters? They did 9 meters, and then they loaded a 9 meter. And at that 9 meter point, the soil profile there is very bad. It's called peat. Peat is a mixture of organic materials with sand. You understand? When you have trees fall down, and then you have weed and all those organic materials, dead fossils, dead animals, over time, you understand, they decay and they become these organic materials which we call peat. So far back at 9 meter, we have peat there, and these guys dug down to 9 meter to load that peat to find out that the building can carry, the profile can carry it. So it's very important for us to know that engaging a professional, you are not wasting money, you are saving money. Today, in fact, do you know the funny part of it? The client that after we develop the land and then the house is standing without any deformation, the house stands straight without any deformation. From that day onwards, if you tell the client that you don't need a professional, I will tell them, you don't need what? Let me tell you something. If you don't engage a professional, you will waste money. That's what the client keep telling people. If you don't engage a professional, you will waste money, because they wasted money. I actually, I took them to one of my friend's site, who is a developer too as well, to get a property from them. They actually trust the fact that, okay, this guy can recommend a property for us to buy, and then we'll buy, because we know that, he is standard. He doesn't do shady construction. And I myself as an engineer, I won't sell any building that is not up to standard to any client too as well. Are you getting me? So engaging a professional is very important. You are not wasting money. How much? Okay, for instance, let me ask you, do you know how much a geotechnical engineer will take from you to do a soil test on your land? It's below 300,000. Just 300,000 that will save a house. That will save the development worth millions. So you're telling me that you can't afford just 300,000 naira to do a soil test on your land, to determine which depth you're going, to carry your intended design. Now after doing that, are you getting me, sir? Now after that, you engage an architect. Definitely you can't do anything without engaging an architect. An architect will then give you the design. Now after the design, you engage the structural engineer. The structural engineer will tell you that I can't do anything if a geotechnical engineer doesn't do the soil test. So after the soil test, they give the geotechnical engineer. After the geotechnical engineer does the soil test, they transfer the reports to the structural engineer. The structural engineer then take that data and convert it to a meaningful structure. Put bones and flesh to the building to make sure that it's standing. Are you getting?
I totally understand, and I agree with you, but I think we may need to do this more, because we need to enlighten our people in this part of the world. They underrate professionals. They try to say they are endangering lives, and that is why we things that are not up to 12 months, they are already dilapidated, and so many things. So at the end of our time, we would have to move to the next question. You have really done justice to this, even from the illustration you gave, how a client spent over 75 million.
Definitely.
And at the end of the day, they've not done the right until a professional. That really illustrates how I can save, save investors their money from losing, save them from losing money. So I think that's really is a let me just quickly move to the next question that I actually want you to really this one invest those that buy a finished building. Most of the buildings in Lagos, most people in Lagos prefer to buy a finished building, and sometimes they don't see the building when they don't see the construction process, and they just see the finished building and they go and buy. And sometimes some of those buildings, you really can't tell the integrity of those structures. So for an investor that is here now, what steps an investor take? For example, that wants to buy a building, what steps should he take to check whether that building actually meets some architectural standard or structural standard, to be sure that this building has integrity, that this building will not collapse? So what steps should they take? How would they know for a building that's already completed, they just want to buy? How would they know that that building is, the building has some quality?
Okay, so with respect to your question, you see, there is a lot that a structural engineer can do for you if you have one as your friend. Not only as someone you engage to help you achieve a specific task, but you just have that engineer as your friend. No, it will save you. Are you getting me, sir? Now, first thing first, if you're purchasing a property, a already developed property, is that you as a client, you need to ask a question: that is this building a renovated building? You understand? Is it a dilapidated building that they actually revived back to form, or is a new project that starts from the foundation up? Are you getting me, sir? So after that, after that, you need to be sure that they conform to building regulations. Regulations. They have up-to-date data of how the building is being constructed from the foundation stage. There's no how you build in Lagos State without you passing through a lot of authorities, from LASPA to the building control, building prevention, building collapse and prevention agencies, to the ministry that tests LAFTA, that tests the strength and of materials that you use. Are you getting me? So all of these stages are usually documented. The strength of steel you use. Are you getting me? The strength of the concrete you use. What are the mix ratio you use? Okay, what is the strength? Are you getting me? So all of these things, all of this data should be readily available. Every reasonable developer will know that, okay, for a client to ask this question, that he wants to see the building data, it means the what are they calling it? It means the client is educated, it has enough knowledge of how a structure is to be, if it is going to be habitable for humans. Are you getting me? So now, if you are the client, you are not a structural engineer, and you want to know if this building is safe or not, engage the profession of the service of a structural engineer. I won't like to, when you engage, how much will you engage an engineer to just help you inspect a building? You as the client, how much you want to buy the house? Probably, let's say 100 million naira, or 150 million naira, or let's say just an apartment for 30 million naira or 50 million naira thereabouts. So can't you spread, like, let's say, like 100,000 naira to a structural engineer to help you just inspect the building? Just tell the structural engineer, I want to purchase this house, or I want to purchase this apartment, but just please help me, just help me run, a quick check to know if this building is sound or if this building is safe or not. And just to give you just a few tips, what the engineer will do first is to do a building survey. What's the meaning of a building survey? If we enter into the building, first of all, go around and check for any cracks from the foundation to the building, because there are different kinds of cracks when it comes to building. We have the structural crack and the functional cracks. Structural cracks are those kind of cracks that comes from the foundation up. Functional cracks are the cracks that comes due to maybe there's a pipe in between the walls, you understand, and then probably due to movement, there is a crack that shows. So those are functional cracks that can be, really patched up and, taken care of. Are you getting me, sir? So if you engage the service of a structural engineer, if we go inside and help you check everything, and then we ask the developer questions. As a structural engineer, I ask people, say, okay, please can I see the structural drawing that you used to develop this house? You have to provide it. You understand? Then the structural engineer will go through it, check everything. Okay, let me see the report from the Lagos State Material Testing Lab. Let me see your report. Then he will collect it and check the strength of the steel, check the strength of the cubes concrete you use. Do they pass standard? Are they up to standard? So after which, then the structural engineer will be convinced that, okay, yes, you did the right thing. Are you then can advise the client to go ahead and purchase the house, that the house is safe enough for him or her to buy. So those are just, if you want to purchase a house as a structural, as a client, make sure, number one, engage an engineer. And if you don't want to, and you are like, okay, this thing is too expensive for me, then go inside and do, the necessary building survey by yourself if you know what you need to check. Are you getting me, sir? There is something, if there is something Lagos State does, if you don't test the strength of your steel, and you didn't test the strength of your concrete, you didn't test any materials, even till water, you need to test the type of water you use before you construct, before you mix concrete. These are the things people don't know, sir. Just to keep this in, if you use a bad water to mix a concrete of let's say grade 15, for instance, by the time they test that concrete, all the mixed ratio are all the components are complete, and then you use the bad water to mix that concrete, it will never be up to that strength. Are you getting? It will never be up to that strength. So water plays a very important role when it comes to the strength of a concrete. And another thing is that there is. I went to one site and I overheard the developer say, put more water. This thing is too thick. Put more water. It's not entering into everywhere. Note something. The more water in the concrete, the lesser the strength. If you add more water inside the concrete, the strength reduces. But the lesser the water, the higher the strength. Now, how can you now use lesser water to a concrete and then at the same time it's workable? Workability means when you pour concrete inside a formwork, it should flow. Concrete should flow, it should enter everywhere, so that when you remove the formwork, there's no honeycombs. Now, this is where you now put a lesser water, and then with the use of admixtures. For instance, let me just be technical here to a bit, but I will explain. If an engineer say use 0.5 water cement ratio to a concrete of let's say 124, which is grade 15. Now, what does that mean? It means you need to multiply 0.5 times the weight of the cement. A weight of a cement is 50 kg. Now, 0.5 times 50, it gives you what? 25. So when you mix, you mix a grade 15 concrete, the first batch of the grade 15 concrete, you need 25 liters of water to mix that components together to achieve a desired result called concrete. But when you mix this 25 result, the question is this mixture workable enough? It won't be workable. It will still be hard. When you pour it on it won't flow. You just pour it and it will just be there. And when you didn't vibrate it or not, you don't do the necessary things, it will form honeycomb. That is where you need to add admixtures. There's what we call super plasticizer in construction. Super plasticizer helps you to achieve high workability concrete with lesser amount of water. You put small water in the concrete, you put the super plasticizer, you see the concrete flows easily, such that it will enter everywhere. It will fill up every space, and then you have a very good result.
Well, yes, I think you have done justice, and you are entering the technical aspect of the whole conversation now. We are, most of us here are developers, realtors, and what we just want is how to ensure that we will not sell a property that we end up, having issues, dilapidating, or maybe collapse and all that. So for realtors, you are already seeing a lot of work that needs to go into this, and you'll be able to advise your investors or your client better. And also for investors or client that want to invest, so you see a lot of things, because properties, is a high ticket, it's capital intensive, and you can't just pour your millions into a project and at the end of the day you'll regret. So that is why it is important for you to be enlightened, and I am so glad that the way Oluwatosin is really engineer, Adenle is really doing justice to this. Thank you so much. And let me ask this final question, because of our time, we may have to be rounding up, but we have to do it again. We need to do this again, because today I am in my room. You can see that the light is dim. It's not bright. But we'll have to do this again. And that time, I think I'll be in the office, and at least let the people see my face very well. All right. Thank you for everyone that is joining. Thank you for joining. Neeraj Stephen said, this is indeed a lecture. I am Tolu Olamide said, you are giving us a great lecture, sir. And so many other people that are appreciating you. All right. So let me just quickly ask this question before we will start wrapping up. Prevention, they say, is better than cure.
Yes, sir.
We in this part of the world, sometimes we just do things, and at the end of the day, we start looking for cure. So, but for an intending investor, maybe someone that is looking forward to buying a property, buying a house. So, what are the steps do you think they should take to prevent, or maybe somebody that want to build? Somebody that want to build, or we developers, or you already own a land and you want to build it. So what steps should the person take to avoid collapse? Because that is a very major issue that we need to really deal with.
Yes. So one thing,
in a way, you have really answered this question.
But I'll package it up in one. And what I would say is just engage the right hands. Yes. Engage the right hands. Engage professionals, most especially. If you want to engage an architect, engage a professional architect. An architect, I mean. If you want to engage a structural engineer, engage a professional structural engineer. Their fees are not expensive at all. I'm telling you the facts. And make sure as a client that you follow due process. Any advice they are giving you, just follow through. And if you are doubting the fact that you don't trust the idea of this engineer, you can engage two. See, it's not a bad thing. You can engage two professionals. And what you want to do is that, okay, you professional A to do the design and professional B to do the checking, just to be double sure. If you want, are you getting me? But I'm very, very certain that every engineer that is, number one, current certified, has a seal and stamp, will not design anything that is. If you're conversant with this 7-story building collapse that happened some times ago and the likes, any engineer that gives a client an advice and the client is not taking it, what backs it next is a letter of withdrawal. Just know this. A a letter, he will withdraw. He say no, he's not going because number one, his seal and his stamp is at stake. They will withdraw it from him, and the badge of an engineer will be removed. Are you getting me? So engage professionals. Ask these questions. Number one, after the design, that I must do soil test. Even if there are some professionals that are shady, they will tell you that you don't need soil test now, and you have done this in one site before, and we can replicate. Insist on doing soil test, and insist on you having a professional engineer on your project. If you do this, I mean, you can go to sleep. In fact, today, do you know the client that I built for 2015 called me back today, and he said, you know, I want to develop another property, and I want you to develop the property for me. I mean, that's it shows, you understand? It shows that
that's integrity.
That's integrity. Are you getting me? You don't compromise any professional engineer. Don't compromise on standard. So in a nutshell, make sure you engage the right hands. And for every developer and every contractor out there, listen to me. Make sure you follow the specification given to you by the professionals. If they say for this foundation, use 450 Newton per millimeter mm strength of steel, which is TMT or any local reinforcement that meets up to that strength, use that reinforcement. Because there's a reason why they design that, they use that design strength to design. If they say use grade 15 for concrete, use grade 15. Don't say because you know we are shortage, we have short cement, or the cement is not enough, or the sand is not enough. Let us compromise. Don't do that. It has adverse effect, and that effect is usually very, very disastrous. It's actually highly disastrous. So please try as much as possible to follow specification, follow standard. You check the architectural drawing, you see there is a specific, you know, every standard architectural drawing, you see it to detail. The height of socket, the ties, how it should be laid, everything is there. See, there is no record science anywhere. It's just, you know, with garbage in, garbage out. You understand? Just carry the book. As one of my guys will say, he said, we are not telling you to design it from the beginning. Just carry it and interpret it, and interpret. That's all. Use 2 block here, use 2 block. Use 3 block here, use 3 block. And if you see anything that you are not comfortable, call for a general meeting. Let the client be seated, the architect, everybody be seated, and then say, okay, as a contractor, I know something here. Because they can be, everybody is not perfect. There can be errors too in design. You understand? You know, if it's not double checked, there can be error. And if you note that, call for a meeting, let everybody be seated and say, okay, see, this is what I note. I've seen that before. I've developed a building that I'm not the one who designed it. And then when I note mistakes there too as well, I say, this thing is error. It's an error from the designer side. And as an engineer and I design also, I know that is an error. I know what will work for a cantilever of 1 meter. I know what won't work for a cantilever of 1.5, 2 meter. I know what won't work. It's based on, you know, you've been designing over the years, and you know for sure that this thing will not work. So when you engage a professional, you are safe. And I pray God will help us. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. In fact, this is so amazing. This is mind-blowing, and it's super. We have to do this again. A lot of people have to hear this. In fact, I wish I could stream this on my Facebook, because I have a lot of people on my Facebook, you know. But we have to do this again. Maybe that time it will be, I'll stream it on all the platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So thank you so much for this, so much value that you have, you know, offered today. Thank you. You see, everyone is appreciating you. All right, thank you. And also, there's one thing for those that are seeing this, and those that will also see this later. If you currently have a land you want to develop, a property you want to develop, Engineer Dele can do that for you. And also, if you are looking forward to buying a property, or you want to buy a land, we can do that for you. Goland Global, the chief servant of Goland Global, the MD of Goland Global. I can help you do that, secure genuine land. It is one thing to say, you know, even getting the genuine land.
Yes.
is also, is also very important.
Yes.
So, and Golan Global is a company you can trust that can give you that genuine land. Or you can send a DM to Engineer Ndele, or you can send me a DM if you need the land that you want to build on, or you want to build. Send us a DM, and you'll be sure that you are getting, a good structure with high level of integrity, because properties are capital intensive. People need to. Properties in Nigeria cannot be cheap again. They are already expensive. So since it's already expensive, why not put in everything that you need to put to be sure that you don't get your fingers burnt? Because for those of you trying to cut corners, you don't want to engage professionals. At the end of the day, when the building collapses, you lose everything.
Yes, sir.
So to avoid all of that, contact Engineer Ndele. In fact, you can send me a DM. If you don't have a way to contact him, send me a DM. I'll connect him to you. Or you need a property, just send him a DM, or you send me a DM, and you'll be sure that you are acquiring the right property. You can see the value he has offered you and he has given you. So one final word from you, so that we can call it a day. It's already almost 8 p.m. We started exactly 7 p.m.
Yes, sir. So the final word is just engage a professional. And when you want to buy any property, make sure you engage the right set. Inland properties are doing amazingly well. You understand? You can just go to their Instagram page, follow them up, and then you have amazing offers from them. And it's nice having Mr. Martins, it's very important that we have a section for real estate investment in Lagos State, most especially that you will take. You understand? How to know how to know which lands to invest in that will yield maximum profit for investors. And then I'm looking forward to that as well. Because we are
all right. We'll do that. Let's see. I'll check my itinerary for next week, and let's see how next weekend can work out, so that we can. Okay. In fact, like I said, we have to do this again, and especially on my Facebook, we have to do this. It's very important. It's very, very important, because this will save life, save money, and so we'll do this one again, and even the investments we'll also talk about that also. All right, thank you so much for adding so much value to us today. Thank you. God bless you.
It's nice. It's nice pairing the it's nice pairing the Instagram live page with you. So thank you very much, sir. Have a nice time. And thanks for joining, Mrs. Foluke, Mr. Steven, Mr. Tolu.
Thank you, everyone. Foluke, thank you for joining. Stephen, thank you for joining. Tolu Lokbe Olamide, thank you for joining. Everyone that joined, thank you all for joining.
Mr. Tolu is the CEO of Toast Farms. Let me tell you a quick story about him. He's a civil engineer who turned farmer. Just like you, a civil engineer turns a developer. Yeah, he's doing amazingly well in the agripreneur industry. Mr. Tolu is the CEO of Toast Farm. His products are very, very well accepted throughout shopping malls in Lagos and environs. Mr. Tolu is doing amazingly well. Seriously, yeah.
Wow. Nice. I'll connect with him. Let me follow him.
Yes.
Let me follow him. Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining.
Thank you,
everyone.
Okay, have a nice time. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.